Wuthering Waves version 1.2, coming off a hot streak of hype on version 1.1, new characters, even a free character being promised, huge changes coming out. I mean, surely this patch does just as good as version 1.1. Now, all jokes aside, Wuthering Waves version 1.2 was still a very good filler patch. It goes on with a lot of the other filler patches out there that Hoyoverse does as well. It was still very successful, and I think the way they did it was pretty fun. The events were still good, but having a filler patch on version 1.2 of your game doesn't really stick well with most people. I mean, to be honest, coming off the hot streak that was the official release, going into version 1.1, I mean, I get that there was still a bunch of issues that they had to fix, so it was probably stunning their development a little bit, so they weren't able to bring out new areas as fast as they wanted to, maybe. But fixing all the bugs, going into 1.1, which was a huge update, new area, huge characters, huge changes. The game was getting better and better, and more people were coming. And then version 1.2 dropped. The hype was still there, but people saw that it wasn't anything crazy. It was a filler patch. The characters weren't everybody's favorite, and it kind of fell off. Now, 13 million isn't anything to scoff at. The game's not going to end of service yet, but I just do think having a filler patch at 1.2 might have not been the smartest choice. Now, the money isn't the main issue. I mean, to be honest, most of the gacha games did struggle. They weren't at their peaks in the month of August, and I do think that's because of oversaturation in the gacha scene. Wallet fatigue, people have only so much money to spend on each game. Obviously, if you're a gacha player, you probably play multiple gachas at the same time, but you're not able to throw money at multiple games, and most people try to be light spenders or free to play, and they kind of pick one game to spend all their money on. Now, unfortunately, it didn't seem like Wuthering Waves was that game for most people in the month of August, but I can see why. It was a filler patch. People really didn't care. There was also a free character coming, so you know, most people weren't going to be spending a bunch of money on the game anyways. And with new shiny games constantly coming out, people might not have the time to play all of these games at once, and they're going to start picking and choosing based on which game has the best features. And Wuthering Waves 1.2 really didn't bring anything super crazy to the table that other gacha games weren't already doing. Zenless Zone Zero was still around. They were making huge changes, releasing big characters. Natlin came out for Genshin. Star Rail is being Star Rail, doing what it does best. Love and Deep Space is just there for all the men lovers out there. AFK Journey released no new servers, so people who love spending and whaling for PvP games to pay to win were there as well. But this is only going to continue with more and more new shiny games coming out because the space is actually now finally evolving, which is crazy to say, and more games are doing different things and investing more time into their games. Now, by all means, version 1.2 is not a bad patch. It was a good filler update at the wrong time. It probably should have been delayed to like version 1.4, as you're trying to bring in a lot of players early on in your game, and if you're not, really given the best content to feed the gacha addiction, people will just go to other games and spend more money on those. But by all means, the devs still added the overcap for the wave play feature, which is great for the people that are constantly worrying about capping. They added more camera changes and fixes to the buggy camera system. The 120 FPS feature was released for select devices. A lot of the lower end devices didn't get it. I doubt that'll change, but it's a change that a lot of people do respect because 120 FPS is a lot smoother than 60, especially in a combat game like this. And the events were actually pretty good, like the new Elusive Realm update with the Dreamless feature, had like a summer event system built in with it. The new kind of co-op event that they released as well is actually pretty fun, the first big co-op event in the game. They had the main event, the Moonlight Festival event, where you're doing a bunch of fun mini games, interacting with the characters, filler stuff. It was still fun, but not for everybody. And finally, the biggest change, which was the free character Shang Liao that came out as well. But jumping into the characters of this patch, I actually really didn't care that much for them. I still pulled for Zhezha. She wasn't my favorite. I just really liked the design and the kind of like art aesthetic. Her damage wasn't that good, to be honest. She's an interesting unit. She feels kind of clunky to play though, so definitely not my favorite character in the game. I actually enjoy the free character a little bit more this patch, but her animations are still pretty fun. She Had a unique story quest. Again, it wasn't my favorite, so I can see why a lot of people kind of skipped out on the characters for this patch. Um, so, unfortunate there. Now, actually, on the opposite end, there is Shang Liao. He was easily my favorite character of the patch. He was free, which makes up a good percentage of it, but his character teaser, everything that he was involved in was all great. Well animated, all fluid. His attack animations, everything's great. He does huge damage, and he's the best lightning DPS in the game right now. So I think if you are looking to hop onto the game, now would be the time. It's actually not that hard to get him. You need a very small amount of score to get him in the new event. So I would say get on there, get him. He's a huge deal, to be honest, and he's been my favorite part about this whole update. So now, wrapping things up, unfortunately, a good filler update released at the wrong time. With version 1.3 right around the corner, I mean, the hype is already there to go to the new area of the Black Shores, which is beautifully done, looks amazing. Unfortunately, I think it should have been like the version 1.2 update, but hey, that's okay. New character, Shorekeeper, very important, a must pull, I would say. Beautiful animations, not going into leaks. If you want to see that, go do it yourself. But definitely cool characters. The 4-star's got like an interactive ult. Looks like they're trying something new. Lots of new events, things coming that are going to be very fun to do. And I'm looking forward for the game to get back on its feet after the quick filler that was version 1.2. But I do think they should have had the Black Shores update as version 1.2 to continue the hype. But overall, 1.2, looking to move on from it. Excited getting the hype back up for version 1.3.